Hi everybody, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I have a fun little project for us. This is I'm trying to decide what to call it, but it's like a gift set, I think. It's a embellished, expandable envelope. Okay, it opens up like this, and then inside I put a sweet little bookmark that I made, and then just a little tiny journal that someone can use to, write lists, turn into a cute little junk journal. It's basically just the pages sewn in. And then I decorated the front and added the pretty ribbon. So what I was thinking is this would be a great little gift for someone. It will be great tucked in a big journal, and it will definitely hold more, right? You could write a letter, you could put a gift card in there, and it was easy to make and easy to embellish. So I really think this would make a nice mass make, even when you see how quick and easy they come together. I think depending on what you decide to do for embellishments. So use any paper you have that makes you happy. You could use scrapbook paper, you can use digitals. I'm using the Shabby Chic, Shabby Chic Rose kit and the Shabby Chic polka dots from Tina over at Making and Creating. These are in the Digital Collage Club. All right, I just think they're beautiful and coordinated well together. The roses has some stripes and some polka dots, and then the polka dot set kind of is maybe the backing paper. And then I'm also using from the Clip Art Corner, which is also Tina, the vintage books, because I just thought, this will be great for someone. In fact, you could use the little notebook inside, with your reading list, or if you're in a book club to take a few notes, something like that, because you can put whatever kind of paper you want in those little notebooks. Cuteness. So I printed them. This is full size. Here, let me show you real quick. And then I also printed, this is like the full size clip arts. If you just, print out the sheet she has, of course you can use the clip art for other things. So that's the full size. And then these sizes, these are where I just put 2 to a page and printed it. So funness abounds. Okay, but again, use whatever makes you happy and join in, because this one comes together easy and fun. All right, so I am starting, we'll do the expandable envelope first, with a piece of paper that is 10.5 by 7 3/4. I cut it to this size. And then I'm going to score it on the long side, okay? We're gonna just score it at 1 3/4. And at 6 1/4. And I'll put the measurements and scoring down below in the description for you guys, so it'll be there for you, okay? And then I'll show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna fold, of course, on those score lines, Pam, on the score line. Get my phone folder out. And this is going to make just a simple envelope, just like that. But I'm going to put those expanders in, and they're not hard to make, but it gives us that extra room in our envelope. So you need 2 strips, and I'm going to use this strip. 2 strips that measure 1.5 inches by 4 1/8. So let me see. There, that's pretty close. Let me make sure that's the right height. You want it to be the same height, yes, as the pot, that it'll fit in this section of your envelope. So 4 1/8 is the height, and then 2 strips that are 1.5 inches wide. Again, I'll put this in the description, but I need 1 for each side. So that's 1 that's 1.5, and 2 that is 1.5 inches. Okay. Now the way I do this, I think is pretty easy. I guess you could score, but all I do is I fold mine in half, and then I'm gonna fold it up to the score line. Let me ink that so you can see it. Okay, so then just take each end or each side, whatever, and just fold it up. Don't cross over it, but just fold it right to that score line. Just like this. And I printed my digitals on 90-pound Nina cardstock. I call this a medium weight cardstock. It's definitely cardstock. You know, it holds its shape, but it's not heavy, heavy thick. So I think it's thick enough and it makes a nice project. Now, let's do both of these and then we're going to talk about the mountains and the valleys when you do this project, okay? I want mine like this because I want those flowers on the outside. But same thing. This one we're going to fold in half. And then we'll fold each side into just up to the score line. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I hope that you like this idea, you decide to make one. If you do, even if you don't decide to make one, give the video a thumbs up, please, and leave me a comment. But definitely, if you decide to make one, drop me a comment and tell me about it, okay? Now, I am just accordion, you know, back and forth, back and forth. And in my mind, in the paper world, this is a mountain, like where it comes up. So I have a mountain, a valley, a mountain, a valley, a mountain. If I turn it this way, I have a mountain, a valley, a mountain, right? I want to have my paper with this mountain facing out so that when this gets glued in, we get this amount of room. And there's, you know, different ways where you can make it expand even more and that type of thing. But for my purposes and what I want to put in my little stuffed envelope, that's all I need. But before we glue these in, let me just do a touch of inking. These already have some nice vintage, you know, vintage marks and stuff on them, but I'm just adding just a little bit, and I'm using my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide in Walnut. And we're just gonna come through here. It's just a lot easier, you know, to get your inking done before you glue. And I like to have some ink right here. You open it up. I think it looks great. So if you're interested in these papers, there is going to be the link to the Making and Creating website and a coupon code. So, you know, there's options for an annual membership or a lifetime membership. And, you know, there's just so many papers and so many kits and so many things you can do, and you can choose both or just the Digital Collage Club or just the Clip Art Corner. But, you know, go take a look. Even if you think, oh, I don't want a subscription, you know, if you do the annual one, it's one charge and you have it forever, which is what I did years ago. And Tina's always adding new things, but all the details are on the website to tell you about it. And the annual membership is reasonable, and then it's you know, of course, but you'll have that charge each year. So, but look at it, look at the coupon code. I am one of their, and I'm new, you know, one of their new ambassadors. I've talked about this before, but it does help me if you use my link and coupon and everything. So I appreciate you guys going and checking it out and just seeing what you think. Okay, let me, I don't really need to ink this fold, but so you can see exactly where I'm going to place these, it'll be easier to have that inked. All right, so again, the thing to remember is I just want the mountain to the outside. If you put the mountain to the inside, I mean, you would still get, I guess, some room, but I like it that way. So I don't know, there's a reason I put the mountain to the outside. That's what I like to see on the edge. So add glue to one piece with your mountain here, you know, with that bottom piece, and we're gonna just slide it right here, right next to the edge, okay? So see, this is what you're gonna see on the outside, see? And that's what I wanted to see, okay? Now this one, just turn it the other way. You're gonna have the mountain facing that way, and we're gonna add the glue to this little flap here, and we're gonna lay this one down, but on this side, and right at the edge. Okay, and just make sure, you know, they're nice and straight and everybody's happy. Now we're gonna add glue to the tops. So just again, right on the little flap on both of them, because it's a whole lot easier to get this glued together if you do them at the same time. And then you're just gonna fold it up, and I do find I just kind of stick my finger there and there, and then I just fold it, stick it down. All right, and now I have room in my cute little envelope. And of course, now I'm second guessing myself, and I'm wondering if I did my little accordion folds the other way, would that give us more room or less room? I don't know. Why don't we fold one real quick and see, just for the fun of it. I'm just gonna eyeball this paper, and we're gonna make one really quick, because now I'm second guessing myself. So let's just double check and see if Pam is crazy or not. So this one is right at 3 7/8 inches, and we'll use this one. And let's cut the height to 3 7/8. Let's do a 1.5 inch. Let's just see. It won't take us long, and then we'll get to the other parts of the project, because some of you may be sitting there going, I put the valleys to the outside, not the mountain. And I don't know why I didn't think about this before I started filming, but you might get more room this other way. Let's just see. Doing everything else the same. I just made it the correct height for the piece of paper I grabbed. And I'm just gonna fold my little expanders. Is that what you call these? I don't know. I think expander is an okay word to call it, isn't it? Okay. And again, I am going to fold back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And then, I don't know which way I'm putting this one in, but it doesn't really matter. All right, so this time, instead of putting the mountain to the outside, I'm gonna put the mountain to the inside and just see what happens. But everything else is the same. Mountain to inside. Because I was sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, you know, it actually looks a touch weird. Okay, mountain to the inside. If nothing else, we'll now know, like, why I do that. And I make little projects with these little expanders all the time. All right, glue here and glue here. And we'll see which one we like the best. And this is what I meant, though, about a mass make. See how quick it comes together? I just grabbed a piece of paper and folded it up. Okay. Oh, look at that, guys. Pam's brain wasn't a brain fog before. Put your mountain to the inside. And if you're crafting with me, I apologize. It's still fine. I mean, I like these like this, right? You know what? I did something weird on this one. I think the glue just grabbed it. There we go. No, I like it like this, but this way you get, I mean, you have the mountain that might get in your way here, but it does open up quite a bit. You guys decide. You guys decide. I think it's better to put the mountain to the inside for the majority of the room, but in this one, I don't have to worry about any thing, you know, hitting it. I don't know. I'm probably perseverating on that for no reason. All right. Now, I did want to show you. So to decorate this one, I used some of this lace, and this is just like a vintage style. I think a lot of us craft with it. You can get it on Amazon. It's not part of my vintage collection, but again, if you're kind of thinking about you want to do a mass make, it's a little more affordable, right? There is a needle in there. I usually have a needle holding these together. And that one's flying everywhere. All right, let's get this in here. I think this just needs to be fixed, Pam. There we go. All right, so I just cut a piece the length of my envelope, and then I'm going to pick a ribbon to put in there. And I don't think that one has enough contrast. I've been using this one and it's perfect. I was just trying to pick something maybe a little different. Let me see what other colors I have. I have this peachy one. I'm digging through my embarrassing pile of crazy ribbons. And then I have this one that's a little bit lighter. I think I'm going to go with this one. I just like that contrast with the ivory ribbon. Now I could do, that is something I could do. I could do a piece. It's got to be long enough, but of sari silk. That would be pretty too, wouldn't it? Let's stay with this since I haven't prepped it. Okay, this is what I did. I didn't cut it off yet, but I picked a place to start in one of the holes in the lace at this end. One of the, it's a little bit larger. And then I came through this nice big hole that's kind of at the top. Yeah, I need to come up some. La-di-da. And I'm gonna weave through to the center, and then we're gonna cut it and then start at the other end. And the other one I had no problems because I was not on camera. Okay, here we go. So just back and forth. And if you don't want the bow in the center, you could, go off to one side. I kind of liked it in the center. Where do I want to come up at? I'm going to actually come up here. A little bit smaller. And then there. And then this is, I think it's because the other one, the hole at the top here was like right at the center. I got lucky. We're going to tie this one. Well, let's see, where is the center? So, what is half of 7 3/4, right? 19, hold on, I'm just going to figure this out. We're going to go to 7 1/2, 3 3, about right in here is the center. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a hole that is closer to the center than that big one. Everything will be okay. This will make sense in just a minute. Okay, I need enough of a tail here that I can tie a bow. So let me just kind of get that untwisted a little bit. I'm just going to cut it off. Now I'm going to be careful, not to pull that through. Now let's start at this end. And I don't think this lace is going to unravel on me. Yep, it unraveled. So I don't think it will, and it did. Okay, so I will go one over. It's funny how you come up with an idea and everything goes great. And you're like, oh, this was easy. And then it's not as easy when you try to replicate it. All right. Go back down. want it to sort of match the other side, so I'm looking at what I did. If I can't get this to pull through. Come on, little ribbon. Be my friend. Okay, now we're gonna come back up. It's much easier in those larger holes. And then we'll go down right here. And then I'm gonna come up, if I can, in the same little tiny hole that this one's in. I can do hard things. All right, I am going to get one of my needles, and I'm using the, see the part with the eye, which is what I should have been doing all along to help pull it through. Okay, there we go. It's so pretty. All right, and then I just tied a bow. So I'm gonna tie it before I cut this last side and make sure I like where everything is, because I have the opportunity to try to fix it or give myself a little more or less ribbon. All right, it's laying a little funny, but it's okay. So I'm gonna cut that end off. All right. Now, all I did, I'm gonna retie it and just see if I can keep that from flopping up that way real quick. And then I'll show you how I just use my hot glue to glue it down. If you don't want to do hot glue, use your Fix, which does well for paper, you know, fabric or lace to paper or paper to paper. It's a great glue. It just, you have to wait, or I find I have to wait a little bit longer. So I do tend to use the hot glue when I'm on camera. All right, I'm going to be able to fix that when I glue it down. So, all right, we're going to start at this end, not too much, and get it where I want it. And I'm going to trim all that off in a minute. Fun. Doesn't this just make a huge difference? Just that little bit. I think this probably is taking longer than making the envelope itself did. All right, fun. Now, I'm going to get my glue right here, and then I'm going to use some glue to hold that bow where I want it in just a minute. So, not too worried about the bow yet. Get that glue down. Ouch, burn myself. So I'm grabbing the lace and this ribbon as I go and making sure, because I certainly do not want it to come undone. And now I'm going to put just a little extra glue and hope it grabs that so that it hangs a little better. Cute. In both colors. It looks good with both colors, you know. All right. Now, I did use one of the larger of the clip arts with the vintage books, just to peek out, right? Just to peek out like this. I think it gives you like a little bit like, ooh, what am I going to see when I open this up? I'm going to use this one and put it to the right because I have that one to the left. And I am going to add just a touch of ink, not a lot, but a touch. And again, I love having things like this tucked in a large journal. I just think it's so fun to have little interactive elements that give me extra places to hide treasures. But as a gift, like a little gift set, like I said, this would just be darling. And then someone, again, could use it however they want, or in their journal, or keep it with their books that they're reading. Like I said, just a lot of fun things that you could do. All right, and I am going to use one of my Velcro dots. Now, if we wanted to, I have some of these larger ones out here. Let's try one of these. It's going to add a touch more bulk And the little one seems to be grabbing fine, but since it is a larger project, I didn't add much bulk at all. Like I said, and this little one seems to be doing fine, and we could always add a second one, you know, if you get worried. But, okay, I forgot I had these sitting here. There's the little ones. Okay. Love it. Now let's set that there, and we'll make the little notebook that I put inside. So for the notebook, I started with a piece of paper, and I want it to coordinate. So I'm going to use the shabby vintage roses and the shabby vintage polka dots. And this piece of paper measures 7.5 inches by 6.25 inches. And I know it fits in this size envelope well. And I'm gonna fold it in half. Okay. And then I went ahead and just grabbed some papers that I think would work to be pages. And again, depending on how you want to use this, you may want to put like notebook paper or just plain paper. You might want to do lined paper, right? Or like me, be eclectic and just do a bunch of different papers. So I've got this lovely coffee dye, and it's got some nice crinkle to it. Let's put it that way. And then this was some of that packing paper. I'm kind of going, or trying to, with the pieces kind of larger to smaller. We're going to put in that piece of book page. This is just a piece of white, and then a piece of scrapbook paper. Okay, and it's going to make this just cute little scrappy notebook. Now, you could, okay, so what I did with my prototype is I did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And that's one of my favorite ways, you know, to bind easy, you know, little journals. But we could also staple this one if you really want to get into the mass make concept. So I'm going to just staple it. And, I mean, you can't get quicker than that, right? You could lay this on your sewing machine and stitch. Now, if you stitch, you know, just stitch the height of your shortest paper right there so that they all, you know, open the way you want them to. But I just, again, there's so many ways to make this a quick and easy project. Now, the other thing I was going to do is I think I'm going to use one of the lighter ones. And because I did the staples, instead of doing a closure like I did here, what I did is I glued the ribbon underneath the clip art right here. So it's an attached closure. And then I sewed it with string. What I'm going to do for this one is not worry, or maybe I'll do a different closure, but I'm not worried about a closure right now. I'm just going to tie a piece of this pretty ribbon, and it kind of gives it a little more of a finished look than just having the staples. This isn't necessary. There's nothing wrong with stapling a little scrappy pad as a gift for somebody, in my opinion. But if you do want to dress it up a touch, we can do this. If we can figure out how to tie. I think I'll go ahead and tie a knot and then the bow so that it stays a little tighter. But of course, if you do just the bow, then it's easily removable. But okay. It's still got a little loose on me, but that's all right. Okay. So it just gives it a little more of a look. It does slide because I have not worried about, you know, gluing or taping down, but we could put a skinny piece of two-sided tape right here. Let's just try that and see if we like it, so that it is a little more snuggly. cute. And I'm going to leave it loose in here. There. Cute. Now let's see if we have a image that we want to put on the front to also decorate it up. We could put a big one. We could do one of the smaller ones. I think I like this big one right here. And again, it would be nice, you know, you could put like one of the, like a card with a quote or an inspiration, a scripture. It would be, you know, really, you could put the person's name if you know you're going to be giving this as a gift. You could use some type of pretty image with their name on it, right? But, I mean, that easy. And now we have a lovely, whoops. All right, that Velcro really grabs. A lovely little treasure to put right inside our journal. So the bookmark was just another idea. Again, if you're making a gift, you might want a pretty to go with it. So which one do I want to use? I'm going to use this one. And I want my bookmark to be 2 inches wide. I'm going to cut my paper 4 inches by 6. I think 6 is a nice bookmark height. But you know what? I want a little bit of that polka dot. So mine's going to be a little wider than 2 inches. I am going to just do this. I just wanted to see a smidge of that green. It's not what I did with my first one, but it's what I did with this one. Got so many different things, you know, you could do. And we'll just glue this down and then we'll decorate it. All right. Let's really smush it down good, right? Okay. Cute. So cute. I definitely want to use, I didn't on the other one, but I want to use one of these because I think it will be pretty. And then we will do some type of ribbon or lace topper. I'll show you how I did the sample one. Let's draw a heart in glue. And again, I'm calling this a bookmark. You could call it a tag. You could make it different sizes, different shapes. I'm going to round the corners. It look a touch more finished. Now, on the sample, what did I do? I did a piece of lace and I just wove it like I did on the front, but didn't do a bow. And I left the edges. You know, I told you guys I was going to trim these off, and I didn't. On this one, I did. I kind of like them hanging out. I'm going to leave them. This one I trimmed up. This one I didn't. All right, and that's all I did for the bookmark on this one, is I just put the topper on it. This one, let me get it inked. We could do that kind of topper, or we could just tie a piece of ribbon or lace on there. No, let me see. We could do a thinner piece. No. I think I'm going to do just a piece of the ribbon at the top. And maybe we'll do this one again with that lighter pink, just to have something different. We'll see. All right. I really, really like the jumbo envelope. And I'm laughing at myself about which way to turn the hinges. Yeah, that's pretty. That's all it needed with the books on there. Okay, need to be careful with that Velcro. I think it's all right, but all right, we're gonna put our bookmark in there. So now we have this one done. This one, I need to tie my little book back. And then let's go ahead, since we're here, and make something different to go in the smaller envelope that I made. Okay, bookmark and notebook. All right, there's this. Okay, so this one I made on the fly very quickly. Let's do something different with it. In the spirit of, you can make a whole bunch of these. Now, I was not being as careful, and I didn't get that lined up very well. I think I can trim that off if I'm careful. Let's see. Yes, much better. Sometimes little boo-boos like that are quite easy to fix. Sometimes it's still fixable, but you have to think through it a little more. But that worked for me. And I did not ink this one before I glued it together because I was experimenting with the mountains and the valleys. So if you were one of those people that knew, ooh, you need to put your mountains to the inside, and I was being goofy, thanks for staying with me. I don't know. It's just different. It does seem to have open up more though. And that's what I wanted. All right, what are we gonna put in? What are we gonna make to put in here? Let's make a fun journal card with some writing space. I'm gonna use a piece of this vintagey old book page that's all torn and tattered, and I have not yet lost my torn ruler, my tearing ruler yet, so we'll use it. We'll get a fun edge going. Okay, I hope you guys can see me. I feel like I might be going off camera. Come back over here. Okay, so I'm just using the card. I didn't even check to see if it'll fit in my envelope, but I think it will. All right, I want this edge to also be a little tattered. All right, now I can tear this edge off. All right, let me see what we've got. So I did all of this. Let's make sure it does fit. Yes, it fits. Okay, so I was just gonna make us just a cute journaling card with maybe a ribbon to start with. I'm not gonna worry about inking this. It is so fragile, I don't wanna crack it. It will be fine once it is glued down onto the cardstock. There we go. And I'll just ink the cardstock, and it'll be okay. Those little edges are kind of grabbing some ink anyway as I'm using my sponge dauber. See? So it looks good. All right. So for this one, I'm going to make this shape of a tag. And let's put this little stack of books right there. Cuteness. All right. So in fact, this would be a fun gift, wouldn't it? Like I could do a variety of little cards, tags, something like that. Here's a tiny piece. We could turn this into just a sweet little, like a tiny bookmark. And again, we could just keep going, right? Just kind of keep going. A scrappy pad would be fun. Instead of like a notebook, we could do a scrap pad. That would be nice. You know what? I'm going to put the ribbon here because I can. I think it'll be cute to have a little bit different orientation. And I'm just gonna put one little tie on it. It's a little slippery in a good way, but it will slip right out of my fingers. All right, cuteness. All right, so now I have another little, I don't know what I should call that. Now I still have plenty of papers. Why don't we do, let's make a little, one of, you know, kind of the traditional pocket like this that I can tuck in there and know it could be put down, you know, in a journal or something. But we could also then, I won't do it right now, but we could stuff it with little things, because that is a nice roomy pocket. Yeah. Cute. Okay, so I think you guys know how to make these, right? I just started with a rectangle, and I took the right hand corner and folded it up so you kind of have those 2 points, and then on the right side I just kind of eyeballed it. I folded it over, and then we're doing the hokey pokey. We did the right side in. I'll put your left side in, right? And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cute pockets. I'm gonna just put glue right along the bottom of the right side, put it back in. I don't know who it was that left that comment that I was cracking them up when I said put your left side in, put your right side in. And they're like, we can do the hokey pokey. So that was really funny. Thank you. You made me chuckle, and I'm glad I made you chuckle. Life's too short not to laugh, right? Okay. And again, it would be fun to have a few little things in here. Let's put that in. And I have this fussy cut out. Oh, you know, we could just decorate it right there. Not you know, not glue up or close up our pocket, but just have it right there. So cute. I was gonna stick it in, but I like it like this. And just to make this look a touch more finished, we will round these corners as well. Let's see, we'll put it, should we put it in the tall one poking out? And then I'm thinking, because whoever I end up giving this to, they might like to have another piece of this paper. So maybe we'll put this one in the tall pocket, and I'll bring this one forward, right? And then in this little bitty, I don't want to cut these up. I have these 2 left, but in this little bitty pocket, what do I have? I thought I had something sitting on my, oh, well, you know, we'll just pull out the scrappy, the doodad folder and find something to stick in here. Yeah, some postcards. Faux postcards, right? Perfect. Get them cleaned up just a touch before we put them in here. Guys, I think these are also from the Digital Collage Cal, but I can't remember which set, sorry. But again, there's so many pretty ones that you'll find something. All right, what happened there? Nothing. Pam happened. Look. That's so darling. Let's, I don't know, it might be too tall there. I was gonna say, I kind of want to see these pink flowers a touch more. There we go. Cute. I'm gonna put the whole thing down in here. So we have that stuffed pocket, a journaling card, and then a little tag that we made. Oh, I haven't decorated the front of this one. Well, we have to decorate the front at least a little bit. Let's go ahead, and I think I'm going to use the small Velcro dot just so it's not quite so aggressive with the grab. Go ahead and put this on here. Okay. And one idea that I have, let me think it through for a second. I'm thinking I take this slot punch. It doesn't go in very far, but I'm gonna try this. I may have just messed up my cute little envelope, but, and then in the middle, I already put the Velcro, but that's okay. We are going to come just past the Velcro, and I poked a hole. Okay, now my idea, let's see if I have a piece out that will work. If not, I can grab us a piece. You know what, that's pretty. It kind of brings in the yellow of that rose. Gosh, this one is, we've got some little fray strings really grabbing a hold to everything. All right, let me try to get that out of our way. All right, let's see if this will work. I was going to do a take on the threading it through the lace. Okay, so obviously I need a couple more holes maybe? Oh, I don't know. Let's try it. I'm just eyeballing these. You could measure and space them out the same. All right, so if I go up, down, up, yep, that's gonna work. And then we can tie a bow up. And then we're gonna go, oh wait, this isn't the color I wanted to use. Too many pretties on my desk. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do an odd number of holes or slots. Okay, and then come up through the center hole. You might want to, if you know, wait to put your little Velcro dot on. Mine's going to be fine, but okay. And I am going to leave it a little bit longer so I have the option of letting it hang out, or I can trim it off. We will have to use a touch of glue on the ends. Up, down, and then up through the same hole. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. Okay. All right, and I'm going to tie a bow. If I need to, I don't know why this one is fraying so much. The others did not do this. It's not the easiest to work with when you have all of these strings that I am just throwing on the floor. My vacuum cleaner is not going to like me, but it's okay. All right, and then I'm going to tie a bow. Yeah, cute. All right, again, just a little bit. Okay, because this, you know, it's not like we're gluing the lace down, we are going to need to just put a little touch of glue right there. And then a little touch of glue right here, so that our ribbons do not go anywhere. All right, so fun. Now, the one thing I didn't do on this one, and I think I used all of the ones I already had cut out, is I didn't put a little stack of books. And I kind of want to. So I think I need to use, well, this is the full size, but it's just a little bit smaller. So it won't take me but just a moment to cut it out. So let me do a quick, and hopefully I won't mess it up because I'm trying to go fast, fussy, and then we'll be done. And then I will have 3 of these made. I did one off camera, but we did 2 with me kind of fussing around, but I still don't think it took me that long. So if I was just, you know, had my music playing and I had my stack of papers, I think I could have a great time and end up with a whole stack of these. What do you guys think? I like having projects that have fairly easy measurements. And let me tell you this, I'm going to put the measurements for this one, you know, in the description and where to score and all of that. But if you didn't notice, go back to when I just grabbed the paper to make this one. And I just said, I'm going to eyeball it. And I just, you know, folded the paper. Then I measured the height of this portion of the flap. I cut my 1.5 inch strips at that height to make the hinges or the expanders, and I glued it together. So you can make this maybe with papers you have that don't even, I think I like it on this side, you know, they don't have to be this size. It doesn't have to be a full sheet of paper that you've just decided to use. It could be a scrap or a partial piece, and you can make ones of different sizes. So again, a versatile project that doesn't have to be just the size I'm going to give you in the description. And you don't even have to measure or do fancy scoring. Okay, and luckily I didn't cover up my Velcro. All right, this one, I think I do want to trim off the ends. There we go. I think it'll also help a little bit with that fraying issue. All right, so sweet. And then of course, the fabulous goodies inside too, that I love. I just love to open up, right? And pull them out and go, oh my goodness, we made this. Okay, have fun with it. I hope you make some. And until next time, have a great day, everybody. Take care.